Welcome back to another video. I'm gonna leave a link down below to our main channel where we do car reviews, but as for today's video on this channel, we're gonna be talking about the best cars we've reviewed on the main channel. And this is not based on my opinion. This is just kind of an overall score to each and every single different car we've reviewed. I'm gonna go get my computer because I don't know the cars I've reviewed, but I don't have that many videos up, but it's not like I have 2 to 3 reviews. There's a lot of videos, and each video it's a different kind of story. Talking too much. There we go. Anyways, let's get into it. All right, guys. So here I am. There's a bunch of videos on there. I'm not gonna lie. There's some good videos, and the thumbnails do kind of look attractive. They're a bit childish, but you know what? I like them. Anyways, the first video I ever posted on the main channel was the Ford Mustang EcoBoost, which is my car. So it's a pretty rational decision that I've made there. You see what I did? I got my car, and obviously because no one else would give me their car, so I had to do my car. So there's really no other explanation. But the Ford Mustang EcoBoost is I'd give that car. Okay, nothing personal here. Don't make it personal. I'll give the Ford Mustang EcoBoost a 5 out of 10. It's a nice car. Okay, it's okay. It's got some good power. Again, for a first car, I've said this millions of times before. If you're a guy that has had a couple of cars before, and this is maybe your third or fourth car, and just plus 2 cars plus, then the Ford Mustang EcoBoost for you is not such a good idea. You're probably not gonna like the car. But if you are an 18-year-old kid who is just genuinely looking for something good and not so expensive, the Ford Mustang EcoBoost is your thing to go for. However, the car does have some problems every now and then, but this is kind of from an owner's perspective, not a car reviewer, because I don't own any of the other cars, so I can't really tell you if they're reliable or not. I mean, obviously, apart from the obvious, we know what's reliable and what's not, but I can't tell you how they're like when they're daily driven. Alright guys, second video is the Volkswagen GTI 2013. It's a pretty old car, but at the time I really didn't have much choices. I'd give the GTI just a 5 as well. And again, I'm trying to be as harsh and kind of honest with you guys as I possibly could. It's not a bad car. Again, for a first car, it's a great car. Even if you're a guy who've you've had a couple of cars before, this is kind of still a good option for you. But when it comes to reliability, the car is terrible about it, because the car is just really it's good, but it's overhyped. It doesn't have as much power as you think you're gonna get, because when you have something that's just sort of glorified and it's been for a while, you just think okay, this car is gonna do 0 to 60 in half a second, But it's really not like that at all. It's just an average car. It's got it's got a nice turbo, but it's a nice car. That's why you kind of what's a nice car? It's a small car, so you kind of you're picking up speed a lot faster than some other cars. But yeah, that's really about it for the Volkswagen. It's a good car, but I'd still give it a 5 out of 10. Alright guys, video number 3, and the biggest regret of my life. I should have waited on that video, but I never knew I would get to this point. I thought I might give up at some point. But the BMW M5 competition. Now, I reviewed a BMW M5. Look. Listen to this, okay? I'm 19 years old now, but at the time I was 18 years old. I was an 18-year-old kid reviewing a 2020 M5 competition. I'd give that car an 8 out of 10. Are you crazy? No, I'm not. Hear me out. Why an 8 out of 10? The car is perfect. It looks good. It's a 4-door, so it's great for so many different things. But in my opinion, and I might start sounding like an 80-year-old man now, but the car just has too much power. You really can't enjoy the car. This is kind of almost really a track car. You don't want to I don't know. It just feels, you get really tired. The car is so aggressive. It's so powerful, and at some point in life, we all get to that point. I just want that one day you just want to go out and kind of chill drive. I don't think this car is made for that. So obviously, probably we'll never be able to afford that car. But if I was to ever be able to afford an M5, I'd make sure I have some other cars for comfort and convenience. But really, the M5, it's an 8 out of 10. The car is amazing. The car is amazing. And that car is obviously not for anyone who's 18, 19, 20, or 21, or 22, or so on. it's more for like someone who's very experienced with driving, because when you have that much power, I mean a 4.4 V8, I can't remember how much horsepower it was. I think it was like 523. I'm not sure, um, but it was around those numbers, you know. So the car is a beast, and in my opinion, it is the best sedan that has ever been made, and I'm just never gonna change my mind. So like, yeah, an 8 out of 10. Alright guys, car number 4 is the BMW 540i M Sport. Now that's my dad's car. Okay, look, let me tell you guys something. My dad is the coolest guy on earth. He is also like my best friend too. So like I'm always talking to him about cars. We're always talking about cars and stuff. You know, he's a cool guy, but I don't know why he's driving this business car. I know he watches these videos. So I'm sorry, Dad. I'm just trying to send a message here, right? I'm always telling him this car is not that good and stuff, but you know what? It's a great car, and I would give it a 9 out of 10 or an 8.5. 8.5. Let's just not be too nice, right? An 8.5. We gave the M5 competition an 8. We'll give this one an 8.5. This one looks like the M5, but obviously doesn't have all the power that it has, and it's not a bad thing. In my opinion, it's a good thing, because the 540i is still a very powerful car. Like, it's got a V6 3.0 engine that makes 370 something horsepower, if I'm not wrong. So you know what, the car, it's got good numbers, and when you put it in sport, trust me, it does perform really well. As far as reliability, it's reliable. Of course, it's a BMW. It still has a service package and warranty and all that, so it's going to be reliable until this is over. But you know, it's a great car, but I feel like the 5 Series in general. But yeah, I just feel like it's for more of like an older guy kind of thing. But whatever, an 8.5 is where it's gonna be. Alright guys, moving on to the next car. It's the Ford Mustang V6. Now, that was one of the worst videos I've ever made. Not because it looks bad, not because of any of that stuff, but it's just because the video got so much like hate. I don't know why. I would give that car a 3 out of 10. Now, before you think I'm too harsh, or I'm defending my EcoBoost Mustang, I'm not. The car is just really not that good, and you know, I don't know. The car it's such a weird car. I don't know. I didn't like it. Yeah, there isn't all that much to say about it. I was, you know, kind of thinking about buying it before buying the Inline 4 or the Mustang EcoBoost. But you know, let me tell you a funny story. So we went to buy the car, me and my dad. My dad drove it. He liked it. And he was buying the car for me. Like, it's not like he's buying a car for himself and he's gonna let me drive it. No, he's like, this is your car. So we went to buy it. I didn't get to drive the car. My dad is the one who drove it. And then after that, he's like, yeah, I like it. And then he bought it. So we came home. And after we bought the car, I got to drive my new car. Like, it was just it was a very funny experience. And when I drove it, I was afraid it was going to be weak and stuff, but the car turned out great. And in my opinion, it's got a lot much better power than the V6 Mustang. So let's move on. Alright guys, I'm moving on to one of my favorite cars. Car or video number 6. We've had other videos like the exotic car tour and best cheap car mods for you, but we're gonna put this stuff on the side because it's not really a car, so we can't give it a score. But the Hyundai Veloster. Now, I love that car. The car is obviously far away from powerful, but the car is very convenient, and it's very cool, and it's a Hyundai at the end of the day. So guess what you can do to it, and nothing is gonna happen. You can beat it up, and you can genuinely get your friends, and you can jump the car, and nothing's gonna happen to it. But you know, it's a very cheap car. Okay, before we give the score, it's a very cheap car, so that really is gonna add so much onto the score that I was gonna give it already. The car, brand new, you can get it for 60k. You can buy a brand new 1.6 liter engine that has a turbo and 201 horsepower for 60k with service and warranty and all these sweet things that. So like, you know, the Hyundai Veloster is a good car, and I give it a whopping 6 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to video number 7, which is the modified Jeep Wrangler review. I don't know why I named it that, but you know what? The car is good. Jeep Wranglers, in my opinion, are good cars. Do I like Jeep Wranglers or SUV in general? No, I don't. They're just not my style of driving, I guess. But in the end of the day, the Jeep Wranglers are good cars. That's why we see so many people driving them nowadays, and it's a very personalized car, if that makes sense. So the owners of these cars buy them, and they kind of just make them, you know, like themselves, if that makes sense. So it's a good car. Definitely not the car you're buying to race around. You know, you're not gonna be taking a Jeep Wrangler to the drag strip. So if you're more of a dirt sand guy, yeah, it's a great car. And I'm not into the whole desert scene, so I don't really know what goes on there. But I know the Jeep Wranglers are nice. You know, I've driven a stock Jeep Wrangler. My best friend that moved away had a Jeep Wrangler here, and it was a really nice car. And this car is also very nice. So yeah, I would give it, just because I'm not into SUVs or Jeeps in general, I'll try to be nice, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to one of my absolute favorite cars on this channel, and unfortunately that video didn't get anywhere. It didn't get that much views, it didn't get that much interaction, which is, it's kind of a shame. Like, it's just a shameful thing to see, but you know what, whatever, it was such a fun video to make, and we've definitely had a lot of fun, you know, experiences with this car. That video is video number 8, if I'm not adding this wrong. It's the Porsche 718 Boxster S. Now, I love this car, and I know I've already said that, but oh me, is it such a, look, I would go ahead and give this car a 10 out of 10, but it's not fair. So, amazing. It's all I can say. Responsive. It's quick. It's so accurate. It's so sharp. The car is just, and the car just looks beautiful too. Like, oh my god, I'm in love with that car. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's so, like, you know, sometimes you wish you can do some things in life, but unfortunately you just can't. But you know, you just gotta keep, like, you know,
ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Anyways, it's all G, right? It's a good car. I would give that car definitely, I would keep it with the M5. I would give it, or the 540, I would give it an 8.5. An 8.5 is a good place. Even though in, like, somewhere deep in my heart, I would give it a 20 out of 10. But just for the sake of the video, I would give it a 8.5 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to the Range Rover Autobiography. Now, you know what? Again, I've said this. I don't like SUVs. It doesn't mean I'm against them. Autobiography, again, it's a cool car. It's got all these very cool, amazing, you know, features and all that. But because it's a Range Rover, so obviously it's going to have all that. Supercharged and all that too. So obviously that adds on to it. But if I were to give it a score, I think I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I just don't want to talk too much about it because I just, you know, I'm not so much into SUVs, even though I've reviewed so many SUVs. Alright guys, moving on to the G550, or the G-Wagon, Mercedes G-Wagon, for those people who are not really good with the whole numbers and names. Look, I don't like anything about that car, except the looks and the sound of it, if that makes sense. Like, the car sounds really good, and it looks really cool. I know I uploaded a video, the car is wrapped in matte gray, but the car is gloss black under that wrap, and my best friend owns this car, so they removed the wrap, and the car looks so good in black. Like, the car is fully blacked out now, black wheels and, you know, black tint and black paint and so on and so forth, and it's just, you know, just because it sounds good and it looks good, I think I'd give it a, you know, I don't want to give it a 7 because it really doesn't drive all that well. You know, it's not as powerful as it seems to be or sounds like, but I'd give it a good 7 as well. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Let's just give it a 6.5. 6.5 seems fair, so we'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to the video that will cancel me, the Nissan GT-R. Now, why is it going to cancel me? It's just because I didn't really like the car. I mean, I liked it, of course. It was one of my dreams come true to drive a Nissan GT-R. I mean, who doesn't have that dream? But the car is just, I don't know, something's up with the car. Like, it's just not that specific car, because I know all Nissan GT-Rs just drive that same way. Because I've been in one before, but I didn't drive it, but I could kind of feel how it was like. You know, definitely Nissan could improve on some things. Like, some things inside are just, you know, straight out of a Nissan Sunny. Like, come on, for the price you're paying for this car, you shouldn't really be getting anything that's not unique or screams Nissan GT-R, because that's really why you're buying the car. Because, you know, the car is too powerful, too aggressive, I think it's more aggressive than the M5 for absolutely no reason to be driven on the road. Now that's, see, you had to hear that. To be driven on the road. There is too much law regulations here for you to buy a car like that. Like, come on, if you're doing 0 to 100 in freaking 2.9 seconds, like, where are you gonna do that? Like, every 150 meters there's a freaking camera, my guy. There's a speeding camera. So this car is more of a loss than it is, you know, a benefit. No car is a benefit unless you're buying, you know, these classic investment cars or whatever they call them. But, you know, I would give that car a 7 out of 10 as well. Alright, boys. The BMW Z420i M Sport. Now, I also love that car. It was a really nice car. The reason why I love this car is because I didn't expect the amount of power that I was going to get out of it. You know, 4-cylinder, twin turbo, all that stuff doesn't really... as a car guy, we're not really, like, you know, impressed by all these twin turbo, 4-cylinder... Like, we don't need 4 cylinders. We need to see, like, you know, we need to see, like, the good old V8s and V10s and, you know, bring that stuff back to life. But whatever. It's a good car, okay? It's probably not as affordable as the Veloster and the Mustang EcoBoost and the GTI. But, you know, it's a BMW in the end of the day, and it does perform really well. And the interior is superb, obviously compared to a Mustang EcoBoost, because it's a BMW, and I'm just going to keep saying that, or a Volkswagen. It's a BMW. So definitely, out of all the young boy cars or the budget little cars that a teenager should be looking for, this is obviously the best choice for you, but it's too expensive, so it's not the best choice anymore. But if you're a rich kid, this is the car for you. I would give this car a 7.5, just because it can get, you know, 7.5 is good, because it's I gave the Mustang EcoBoost a 5, for God's sake, so 7.5 I think is fair. So yeah, so 7.5 for that. Alright guys, moving on to one of the worst cars we've reviewed on the channel, or one of the worst experiences for me. I freaking hated that car. The Camaro RS. Now, look, this car was rented, that's why I can talk bad about it. The car is so weak. Like, it's so weak. Even though, like, you know, it looks quick and RS and it sounds like, you know, like, oh, a V6 and all that stuff, the car is so weak. Like, I'm just gonna keep saying that. The car is really weak. Interior looks so good. Exterior as well looks really fine. It looks good. It looks sporty. It looks athletic, if that makes sense. It looks just kind of, oh, I'm fast, you know, like, it looks like the shark. Wait, you know, this shark. It looks like that guy. And, it's a cool car, but I would give it a 4 out of 10, and it's a bit of a harsh score. But to be honest with you, this is what I think of it. If you think otherwise, like. Alright guys, moving on to the Porsche Cayenne Turbo S. Now, I finished filming the video, but it turns out I wasn't recording this whole time. What a genius. But anyways, let's go back to the Porsche Cayenne Turbo S. Okay, so I grew up having this car. It was around, you know, me growing up. It was an amazing car. It was such a good experience for me to obviously grow up with something like that. But again, just because I'm not that much into SUVs, and it is an old car, and don't forget that old Porsche models, they have terrible infotainment systems and terrible AC, terrible brakes, and so on and so forth. So I'll just, for memory's sake and for growing up, good times growing up and being picked up from school in that car, thinking it's the coolest thing ever, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to the Porsche 911 Carrera 3.2 1986. Now that is one of the oldest cars, or it is the oldest car we've reviewed on the channel. And the owner is an amazing guy, and the car is also amazing. So, you know, we're so lucky we got a chance to review a car like this. And to be honest with you, I was always looking at the 911s from that era, thinking, you know, like, these are really, you know, these are the true experience of driving. Even though 911s nowadays are, they're, of course, amazing. But, you know, it is what it is. It's a good car, guys. It's a good car, okay? Interior. 34 years old, guys. The car is 34 years old, so for what it does and what it looks like, I mean, come on. 34 years old, and the car still performs really well. And the car is a manual. The interior looks so good, too. I love the whole maroon color-looking thing they have going on. It's beautiful. And yeah, really, there's nothing bad about the car. You can't spot anything bad about the car, except obviously the rear seats, which are unbelievably small. But really, that's about it when it comes to negatives about the car. And yeah, I would give it a good 7.5 out of 10, just because it's a classic, it's a legend, and it's a great car. Alright guys, moving on to the 2020 BMW X6 M40i. Now, I'm just going to keep saying this on my I'm not that much into SUVs, but this car is a good car, and it's definitely a new looking kind of thing. BMW are kind of, how do I say this without getting in trouble on YouTube? They have a big chunk for kind of moving forward like that, and kind of, you know, taking a big step towards innovation and new things and designs and stuff like that. So it's a 10 out of 10 for thinking, BMW. However, I don't know why a lot of BMW models nowadays are just full of fake air vents. Like, put real air vents, please. That's all you have to do. But other than that, the car is great. Again, interior, they just took the interior straight out of something and just dumped it into something else. I'm talking about the infotainment systems, which is okay. It's quite understandable. But, you know, when it comes to kind of the infotainment controls and the gear selector in that area, you could really kind of add a bit of a unique touch to each car. That would be great. I'm talking as if BMW are going to be watching and listening, but you know, that would be great. It would make us feel, you know, that we're driving something special. But yeah, I would give it a what? What would I give you? Oh, because it's an SUV and I can't remember what I've given the other SUVs. This is not my favorite SUV on the channel. As I said before, I would pick the Autobiography over the new X6 any day of the week. But the X6, I would think I would give it I would give it, let's say, a 6.5. A 6.5. It's a great car, by the way. It's an amazing car, but it's just on my, from what I've experienced in the car, it's just, you know, there's nothing all that special going on. So yeah, we'll keep it like that. Alright boys, moving on to the 2021 BMW 4 Series, the most hated video on my channel. Anyways, I love the car. The car looks great. It's got a bit of a Alfa Romeo thing going on. I don't see it. Maybe a tiny little bit with the headlights and the taillights. But I love the whole new grills they have going on, and some people might not like it. I personally really like it. But yeah, something about the car is so attractive. It's so attractive, and it's just, I don't know. It's like, you know, it's calling out for me to come, hey, like, come buy me, you know, kind of thing. If I was able to afford that car, I would straight up go for it and just go buy it and take it home and wash it every night and take care of it and cuddle it and, you know, take it to service in BMW like a legend. But no, I just have to go to garages and I'll cruise and change my oil because I have an American car. Whatever, it's an amazing car. It's an amazing car. I don't know, again, I said I don't want to make it personal. But look, the car is great. Infotainment system, same obviously as everything else. Driving controls in the gear selector area, straight out of a Z4. So you can't change my mind. They genuinely went up to the Z4 and like, okay, give us this boom in the new 4 Series. But whatever, we can't complain much. It's good either way. And yeah, I would give this car an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10. And the reason why I haven't given any car a 10 out of 10, because we're reviewing the BMW 850 very soon. You know, so I just want to, like, I want to give room to make cars really special, if that makes sense. I just don't want to be, you know, walking around throwing 10s to each and every different car. But yeah, so stay tuned for that other video coming on the main channel very soon. And I guess if you guys like this, just make sure you let me know, and I'll make a part 2 after, you know, a few videos. And yeah, it's been fun making this, to be honest with you. And the editing part is not what's gonna be nice. It's gonna take so long. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, because we want to move forward, and make sure you subscribe to the main channel if you already haven't, and leave a comment down below if there's anything specific you'd like to see, and I'll get it done for you. And yeah, peace out, boys.